Welcome, welcome. Mentalism, correspondence, vibration, polarity, rhythm, cause and effect, gender. Countdown initiated. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Let's try that again, guys. YouTube was just doing something funny, so I started it again. But anyways, we're all here, and it's Tuesday morning, and you know, there's that saying, if a tree falls in the forest and there's nobody there to hear it, does it still make a sound? I often wondered at that question. You know, I really did. But what I will say to you is this. There is only one awareness, and everybody comes upon it at some point. That's what Neville Goddard said. Every man awakens in their own time. That tells us that you and I, doesn't matter where we are, what we're doing, there will come a time in your existence that you begin to ask the question, or questions, who am I? Who am I? Why am I here? What is this all about? There will come a point, there's going to come a time in your life that you will ask those questions. And when you ask those questions, you're going to realize something. Nobody can tell you who and what you are. You will come to the realization of who and what you are all by yourself. Not by yourself in the alone. Not that. By yourself as in you are also the teacher. You see, we think that we are somehow powered from the outside. When in actuality, we're powered from the inside. We're powered from the inside. So what will you do with that? Just that snippet of information. You see, when we hear things, what is within us? See, when we look in the mirror, we see our face, we think that that's it. That's what we are. But I challenge you. Don't just look at your face. Are my edges laid? Are my eyebrows on fleek? Or whatever the young people say. Is my beard like totally cool? Don't look in the mirror for that. That's gonna be there. Look into your own eyes. Just look into them. One of two things happens. People either get scared by what they see or don't see, or they get curious and they begin to sit there and ask, who am I? You see, because we have names. Mine is Angela, yours might be George. Shoot, it's the better man. It's Michael, it's Moon, right? We all have names. But there's a nameless part to you that powers the thing with the name. You see, for some reason, we think that we are separate from one another. So that's why I go back to the question that people ask, if a tree falls in the forest and there's nobody there to hear it, does it still make a sound? Because nobody hears the sound does not mean it didn't make one. It's simply telling you that we're all connected. You don't have to be there, but trees fall all the time. They just do. And see, sometimes I get annoyed when people chase their tails and philosophize, right? There is something that is within you, and not something strange or funny or funky or, no, it is you. But we've been taught to believe for so long that you're your name, you know, you're just a boy, you're just a girl. Oh, that's just a chicken, that's just a tree. What? No. There is an essence that flows through absolutely everything. And it flows through you and it flows through me. And it is what, I don't even like to say the term that, because some people say, oh, it's asleep. No, I don't even like to think that at all. It's asleep. Would it took a break? No, it's not asleep. It's not asleep at all. But what it's doing is because we've been taught certain things for such a long time. This is where sometimes it feels like the challenge, when in actuality, it's just a belief. It's just a belief that you've got. And I'm telling you this again today because the essence that is, which is the all is mind, it knows itself. It can't not know itself. It is aware of itself. It is aware that it is within you, and it is aware of all the things that you have learned, the things you've learned in school, the things you've learned at church. It is aware. It is not separate from you. It is you. But you see, we can't get our minds around that part. We want to say it and then me. Because you go to a funeral and that body there is no longer animated. What's missing? They are missing. So if they are missing, then you're not the body. You are powering the body. And society largely says we're humans having a spiritual experience or spiritual beings having a human experience. God, we love to separate things. There's no separation. And the reason why we separate ourselves is to make things easier. When we separate ourselves from others, all we're doing, it looks like you're making it easier, but you're not. Because when we separate ourselves from each other, now we're going to inflict hurt because, well, they're no longer part of you. So if they're no longer part of you, you can do anything you want to them. That's what separation does. Makes you think you can hurt someone without hurting yourself. Fancy that. So when you separate that tree and the noise it makes because you're not there to hear it, there is no separation. You and I, if you look at us, sure, we look different. We look different. But you will see one thing that's the same. We all inhale and we all exhale. I want you to just ponder it for a minute. I inhale, you inhale. I exhale, you exhale. Do we not? It is that simple breath that each of us has, and it's the only thing that matters. If I say, well, George doesn't breathe, so George is not part of me. Sometimes we try to find things to separate ourselves from others, when that is the biggest illusion there is. And we are, jeez, we are taught to look for things that make us different and to judge those things. Well, you're not like me, so I have to treat you this way. And here's the thing. We will fight for that culture. We will fight for that religion. And the only reason why we do it is because we've learned to do it. And we can't see what we're doing anymore because we've been doing it for so long. But Angela, look at the atrocities in the world. Why would people hurt other people? Because when you think you're separate from them, you can. But when you realize that there's just one consciousness, one breath, one essence that permeates everything, a blade of grass, a ladybug, ugh, even the mosquito. Oh, save me, Lord. Even the mosquito. Even the mosquito. And you know I don't like them very much. But there's one essence that permeates all. Because there is only all. Oh, but Angela, if there's only one essence, how come this is going on? How can we look and do these things to each other? Oh, because we have forgotten that there is only one thing. And what you do to the self is what you do to the alleged other. There is no other. We just look different. We come from different parts of the world. We eat different foods and we have different spices. But there's one thing that makes us all the same. 30 seconds or less. That one little thing that makes us all the same. We're sustained by that breath, by that spirit. You can't see it, that's why they call it spirit. Unless, of course, you go outside on a really cold day, if you get winter where you are. And when you exhale, you will see the evidence of the life in your body. We have fragmented ourselves. And there's no need for that. Yes, you have arms and legs. You have a heart, you have a liver, you have lungs, you've got all these things. But it is in one package, just one. So today, as you go through this day, recognize everybody you look at. It's just one. Just one. And you know, the thing is, we thrive sometimes on being petty. Sometimes I just don't understand the arguments. And sometimes I want to scream because I'm like, you're missing the point here. There's but one. And even though I get upset by that, I am reminded that every man awakens in their own time. You will come upon yourself. You will discover that you are far greater than you were told. And here's the thing. sometimes it is helpful to just sit. You know, I can sit in my room and not say a word. You? Yeah, me. I can sit here and not say anything. Not even in my mind. I just listen. I'm just listening. Yes. Do you know we don't take the time to do that anymore? We don't. Because I remember I told you that habits are very easy to form. Yes? I told you habits are very easy to form. If you have a phone, you understand what I'm saying. What is a habit? Something that you do the same way every time. So what do you do to your phone? You pick it up and you put it down. You pick it up and you put it down. The very act of picking it up and looking at it and putting it down is what the habit is. So when you begin to realize that you're easily programmed, then you begin to choose what program. But it comes down to the fact that you have to decide. You have to decide what your program will be. Because that's how we run on them. We run on programs. Things that we do the same way every time. Right? So would you still know? Yes, you would. Some people take a little bit longer than others. It just depends on what they've been immersed in. Right? Just depends. How were they raised? Well, then it might take them a little longer. Some people come to the understanding that they are just won by, I don't even like calling them near-death experiences because they're not near death. They did die. They physically died. That's not nearly dead. They died. Some people come to that knowing by that experience. And I'm like, I'm good, thanks. I'm good. Some people come by that way. Some people, I don't like even using the word stumble upon it because there's no randomness. Some call it divine timing. Right? But if you spend time in meditation or just sitting quietly and you practice that, there is an inevitability to meditation. There's an inevitability to it. You're good. You spend that much time with yourself, you will learn yourself. That's the outcome of it. You spend time with someone, you get to know them, they get to know you, trust is built, blah, blah, blah. That's how it works. But we keep sometimes wanting to find the flash and the pomp and the ceremony. Not necessarily. There's a stillness, there's a quietness. Right? And you and I have been taught to look out there. Out there. Out there where? Out there does not happen unless in here occurs. It doesn't. You don't plant, you don't reap. And then you know somebody's going to say, well, you know, Angela, I went to the farm and I didn't plant it, but I still reaped the strawberries. I'm like, dude, the strawberries were planted. And so long as they're planted, whether you plant them or not, so long as there is planting, there will be reaping, because that is the outcome. So what are you planting in your life? And I will say it to you until you come to it. What are you planting in your life? Well, look at what you're reaping right now. Look at what you're reaping. What are you reaping? Right? So when you look at it, what are you going to do? You see, sometimes we're so busy bemoaning and crying and being frustrated. But truthfully, we're only frustrated with ourselves. So what do you want to accomplish? But you can't look at Betty Ann and say, well, Betty Ann was born with a silver spoon or a gold spoon in her mouth. Betty Ann has access to nepotism. She may have access to nepotism. You have access to imagination. So what you gonna do with it? Leave it dormant? It has to be used. And that's why I stress it so much. I stress it so much. Take the time. Take the time. Spend some time with yourself. Begin to discover who and what you are. What you are capable of. And I know sometimes that the out there, allegedly, the out there seems to be louder. Think about it. When something is loud, it gets your attention. Yes? Like that guy who came into the store the other night. Like, I think it was Saturday night. He came in and he had his little boombox. Not like they had in the 80s where you have it on your shoulder. It was slung across his shoulders. And he came in and I'm thinking to myself, what's going on here? Because you're drowning out my music, sir. Over the PA system. And I said, do you need help finding anything? He goes, as a matter of fact, yes. I said, all right, well, how may I assist? You see, sometimes we're too quick to judge. I keep telling you this, but y'all think that I don't judge too. Oh, I was quick to judge. I said, mm-hmm. I just looked at him and said, mm-hmm. And then, turns out, nicest guy, right? He says, well, my mother's making fufu. And I said, she's making fufu, eh? And he says, well, she wants a red wine. I'm like, fufu doesn't go with red, it goes with white. He goes, but you know these Nigerian mothers. And we had a conversation. Yes, that's the point that I'm trying to make to you today. Wherever you are at any given time, you have the ability to learn about yourself in a moment. Learn about someone, quote unquote, else in a moment. Guy came to my till. He goes, did anybody ever tell you that you're beautiful? And I said, well, I know you're not drunk because I can't serve you if you are. I said, but you might be high. I said, you might be high. He goes, nah, if I was high, I'd be asking for your number. I said, oh, I see. I said, okay. I'm like, I don't know how to take these things. So I was like, I see you. I see you though. And I always say, well, I got a man. He goes, well, that's your man's problem. If I ask for your number, that's not my problem. I said, oh, Lord, why am I telling you this? If we practice interacting with people, we would discover that there's one thing within us all. Just talk to people. Oh, but Angela, I'm scared. I'm so shy. Well, you start with one word. hello. Well, you think you have to tell them your life story? No, you just say hello. But do you know what stops us from doing that? You're so caught up in something else. And it's usually what's on the phone. People, man, you could be driving and waiting at the crosswalk for somebody to cross and they're looking at their phone. And I'm like, dude, see, we're constantly looking out there for something. When in actuality, it is within. And here's the thing. The stuff that comes from the outside has to be louder because that's how it gets your attention. But you see, within has mastered the art of just presence. Oh, it doesn't have to holler at you. It doesn't have to shake you. It just increases its presence ever so subtly. You know, when you say, I just feel a particular something, you just say, oh, I feel. Oh, yeah. You've had those moments where nothing needed to be said, but you just felt. Sometimes my grandmother would say, oh, I feel so heavy. The spirits got me heavy. And I'm like, of course, I'm a little girl. I'm thinking to myself, she is crazy. What do you mean the spirits got you heavy? But you spend enough time with yourself, you will understand what that means.